We can do this. We can do this. This is Vieto 2. This is the program, the little program that I'm working on. You can open it just like you open Vieto 2 menu. You unzip the thing. You open the DXE one that is in Unity Crash Handler 64, and here you have the app. Those are windows that you can open to do things, and they can be dragged however you like, and you can do the three main windows: import assets, which is where you import your assets; item list, which is a list of items that you create based on your assets; item properties, which is where you edit the items that you created, so like the position, the dynamics. Dynamics are the things that make the avatars move. Live preview, which is the window that lets you see what the hell you're doing. I am going to import some random asset in here just to show how things work. So this is how you open things. You can also list them as a proper list out of a grid if you want to. So this is my asset. It's a shmump. It's a PNG. I can drag it here, and now I have a shmump with me in here. The canvas doesn't tell you where's the center of the canvas. You kind of have to guess. I'm sorry about that. I'm working on that. So I can just move it around. I can rotate it. I can do things with my shmump in here, and I can see the list of things that I have in here. I can create new items, and they'll show up in here. You can edit them with the item properties window, where you can rename them. You can change a few settings, like if you're working with pixel art, you can change the smoothing so it looks pixely. You can change the color, the opacity. You can like tint it to like this. You can also change the exact transform, so like if you want to make something centered perfectly, you can do that. And here's where you add dynamics to. So the thing about dynamics is that they will make your item move. So for example, we have things that move based on an animation. So if you're familiar with the animations in Mini, it's pretty much the same. The titles are kind of missing sometimes. This happens. This isn't a bug.
Is it the same from like when you put a window on top of it? And
yeah, this is probably like part of some window. Let's see which. Oh, there we go. This only happens with bold text for some reason. So I can add a pattern for like bouncing. Sort of similar to how Mini does it. We have noise, which is the shaky things that we have in Mini. We can change the velocity of things. We can change how it applies to things. With patterns, you can do this sort of stuff. You can add rotation patterns as well. So it does things like, wait, shut up! You're moving too much. You can add things like these, for example.
Yay!
Yay! If you're coming from Mini, this is basically like animations too.
Now you have full control.
Yeah, because I forgot to add sliders in Mini. You also have the avatar input dynamics, which makes your item follow external inputs, such as your microphone, your webcam, your keyboard, your mouse, literally anything. At some point I want to add Kinect support just for the sake of it. So I can, for example, make this little guy follow the position of my head on my webcam. You cannot see my webcam, which is good, I'm naked, but just kidding. And I can smooth it a little bit so that it doesn't look too laggy. So I can link it to other stuff as well, such as my mouse, so I can make it follow my mouse here, like this. I can also make it follow the volume of my microphone, like this. It just sort of moves vertically. And this is how we're gonna do a few tricks for our avatar. You can also add a rotation avatar input, so like if you want to follow the head tilt, so that it rotates with my head, which is good. It's important. The other dynamics are more related to how you connect an item to another. So for example, let's say that I want this shmump with his leg attached to the head of this shmump, just because I just want to do that. Okay, I created an anchor dynamic. This creates a little pivot that I can drag around, which is where one item attaches to another. And I'm gonna put the pivot here, and I'm gonna attach this item to here. So this item is attached to this one, which means that if I add movement to this one, and I'm gonna add a tilt again. I like the tilting. It's attached. Things are connected. I can set a few things, like I can change how smoothly it follows things, so like this. You can also smooth the rotation, so it looks like it's following with a bit of delay, right? So that's good, that's useful. But you can also do some other funky rotation, attaching effects, which right now is just spring. Spring makes things elastic. Originally called floppy in the prototype.
Yeah, fluffy.
These are the only dynamics that are available in this version, and you can build quite a lot of stuff with them already. The other two is basically like just a bunch of tools that just a big playground where you can like put a bunch of PNGs together and attach one to another, or attach one to like your webcam or anything like that, and just make things work. So this is the avatar we're gonna build. So I imported an MDP file, which is a file from Firefox. PSD files don't work quite well with BeatoTube right now because Adobe sucks. So I converted it to a Minibang file because I like Minibang. I can now just open it here and import everything separately, even though that's kind of annoying. So instead of doing that, I'm just gonna drag the entire folder here because, you know, I don't feel like doing it.
Oh my god, you can do that?
You can do that, yes. This is Beer.
Bear.theato.
And in here we have all the items that were imported. I'm gonna start by the face here, because the face is where like everything will connect to at some point. So I'm opening the properties here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add an avatar input position, and I'm gonna link it to my head position. Kinda like this.
Wow, that's your head.
Yes, I'm gonna keep movement to just a little. I cannot tab out of the text fields, this is so sad. I'm gonna add also tilting to the head so that I can tilt my head. I'm gonna add the body now. The thing with the body is I am going to anchor it to the head. So I'm gonna anchor it here.
Currently it's just spinning with the head, right?
Yeah, I am going to turn rotation off so that it doesn't do that. I'm also gonna smooth the position just a little bit, just so it, you know. I'm gonna add the wings, because wings are cool. So you can select a lot, like lots of elements at once, lots of items, and you can just edit them at once. So I can, for example, just add an anchor to both of them, link it to the body, and there you go, it's already working. I'm gonna set the pivots to be around here because I want them to rotate. For that, I'm gonna add a rotation pattern that's gonna be a wave. So if you don't do anything, it looks like that because they're waving in the same direction. So for that, I'm gonna change the multiplier in this one to negative so that it goes in the opposite direction. And there you go. You have wings, and they look cool. I'm gonna add a little bit of delay here just to make things cooler. The ears are fun. Ears are fun because you can make them flop. For the ears, I am also gonna anchor them. I'm gonna anchor them to the head. I am gonna put the pivots down here, and then I'm gonna add another spring. Yes, there you go.
Whee!
Spring has a new handle here, which is a little ball, and it sort of helps the program know like where's the extent of the item so that you can like make it flop a little better. If it's too close, things like this will happen. You don't want that. If it's too far, it might not flop that much, so you gotta find a balance. I'm gonna add the earring too, which is a separate item. This one doesn't have to be a separate item, but in this case we can add just a slight movement. I linked it to the face. Yeah, I linked the face. I'm gonna link it to the ear, and I'm just gonna smooth it a little bit, just so it looks like it's moving just very slightly. That's the fun part of BeatoTube. You can just make things like whatever, and they will look fun. You can just make something that follows your webcam, whatever it is. You can make it not follow your webcam as well.
You don't even have to. Yeah.
Whenever states or something, you'll be able to like do the things you do in Mini, but like a bit more, you know. So I'm gonna link the hair, I think. So the hair is all these, and I'm gonna turn them on. I'm gonna link all the hair to the head, and so we sort of have hair happening here. I'm gonna adjust the pivots here, so everything. I'm not sure which pivot is which. I'm gonna probably have to do it this one by one. Okay, this one is here. This one is here because I'm gonna add a few floppy effects. Also, I'm gonna turn off the rotation for this guy. I'm gonna move the mullet a little bit up just to make sure And okay, for all the hair, I am going to add a spring thingy so that the hair can wiggle.
Really?
Wiggle. Yeah. I'm gonna adjust the spring handles here like this. Well, this is good. I like this.
I
think
love
it
it.
works. We have hair.
I agree.
For the face, we're gonna get into some fun things that I forgot to mention before, which is an empty item. Yay! There are empty items, which are items that have nothing in them. They're invisible. They don't have an image linked to them. If you need some help with rigging, just like I'm gonna need right now, empty items are useful. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna create an empty item. It's gonna be called head look actually. I'm gonna anchor everything face related into this. These ones and the eyes and literally everything in here will be connected to that. So I'm gonna anchor this to head look, right? And I'm gonna I'm gonna close a few things here. There we go. Cool, fun. And now that everything's linked to head look, I can add an avatar input for the head look in here. This is the direction that my head is looking, by the way. It's different from eye tracking, which isn't supported yet. Although you can find eye tracking in here, I haven't managed to make that work yet. So that's a thing that's gonna happen in the future. For now, you can like use the mouse position for the eye tracking if you have. This model doesn't have eye tracking. The eyes are baked in, which isn't an issue. You just won't have eye tracking. I'm gonna smooth the look a little bit, and I'm gonna link it to the face. Now it's not working because it's happening after the position avatar input. So I gotta move this up. There we go. We're getting there. We're so getting there. So now it sort of looks where you're looking. It has a little bit of movement and it works fine. We can add a few other things to make it cooler. I have one head look in here. It moves according to the head look at a scale 0.2. So we're gonna do a parallax trick here, where I'm gonna have two head looks. One has a greater scale than the other, so that it moves more as I move my head, so it looks like things have depth, you know? Let's see, I'm gonna add another empty here. I'm gonna create a separate head look. It's gonna be head look 2. And I'm gonna just repeat everything that I did in the other one. I'm gonna anchor it to face. I am going to add another position for upper body head look. I'm going to set the scale to be... I'm gonna put this one to be 0.1, I think.
The first one.
Yeah. And then the other one will be 0.2, the new one. I just copied over the smooth value so that they're the same. So these are essentially the same objects except that they have different scales. So I'm gonna name things properly. There you go. Head look 2 moves more than head look 1. So I'm gonna attach things that are closer to us to head look 2. For example, the mouth, the nose, the other mouth here. They're all gonna be linked to head look 2 instead of head look 1. So now things just simply don't work. What the fuck? This thing, related to curve transform. This now moves a little more than the eyes. And you can have like a few other head looks if you want to, like for different depths, but I think this works for this one. Essentially, you have an avatar here. But we can do a bit more with this because we have microphone support in a really weird fashion. For example, I'm gonna add a shmump in here just as a test, and I'm gonna link it to the microphone, right? So microphone volume. So yeah, I linked it to the microphone, and it moves vertically according to the microphone volume, and we can do a few things with it. First, we can change the scale a little bit so that it moves further. We can change the cutout of the movement, so like, you see that when I'm silent, it's just picking up background noise, like this. So I can change the minimum value here to cut that off. There you go. I'm gonna position it at about 0 here. So again, that's the minimum value. And I can do sort of the same with the maximum one. If I put it like right here, like closer to that one, it'll just like blink between the two positions, right? Okay, I'm gonna add a separate shmump here just for a test. This original shmump is at its position in Y is 0 and its scale is 5. So we're gonna do a little bit of maths here just so we can align things properly. If I put this one at 5, at position 5, it will coincide with like the position that the other one is going because of the scale. And if I put it at like -5, it will coincide with the position that the other one is going when the mic is off. So we can sort of use that to do microphone effects. If we make like two mouths in here, one is up, one is down, we'll make them move up and down. We can sort of like simulate changing between each other. It's dirty. It's what we got. We're gonna do it. I'm gonna create another empty, which will be our moving microphone thingy. I'm gonna put it right below mouth closed. I'm gonna call it mouth. I like to put empties in 0 position. I'm gonna set it to follow the microphone, just like we were doing before. I'm gonna set the cutoff around those numbers that we used. And I'm gonna use 10 as the scale. So 10 units above that is where it goes when you're talking, and 10 below that is when you're not talking. I'm gonna put these together now. Instead of linking them to the head look, I'm gonna link them to mouth, and mouth will be linked to head look. I'm gonna put this up and link this to head look too. What do we have now? We have this happening. It's moving both mouths together. So what we can do here is the open mouth should be down and the closed mouth should be up, so that it's gonna be like that but better. Because we know the numbers, we can just put them there. So for example, we have to move the closed mouth up, right? So we're gonna pick the Y position. Here I'm gonna open the calculator just like a nerd. I'm gonna add 10 because that's the scale that I put in there. I'm gonna copy this back here, and it's sort of aligned if it weren't for the rotation. We're gonna look into that in a bit. This one's gonna go down 10 units, so I'm gonna do the same here like this. Just quick math, I swear. You won't have to do much math. So there you go. It is almost working if I keep my head straight. If I do this, it stops working. That's because it is moving vertically. It is always moving vertically no matter how much I rotate my head. And for that I have to set the avatar input position to be related to the anchored item. So now it follows the correct rotation. And that's how to make the mouth work. It's ugly. It's very dirty. There are gonna be like actual features for that in the future. So yeah, that's not gonna be an issue at some point. For now it is. This also allows you to do funky stuff with the eyes. You can sort of do the same, but instead of linking to the microphone, you can link to a keyboard key, which is what Alex does with their avatar.
Is it correct?
Yes. Yeah. And I'm gonna do tricks. I'm gonna do some tricks. This will eventually be a decent window with like a keyboard view. For now you have a list of lots of keys. Some keys you probably never heard before.
You can make it where the image for the mouth, you can make it a GIF.
You can make it a GIF, yes. So yeah, you can do that. I am gonna do the thing here with the link. I'm gonna link this to head look 1, and I'm gonna link the eyes to blink. And there you go. Not much has happened yet. Unless I press things. Oh god.
Oh,
Whoa.
Oh god, oh god.
I'm gonna set the scale of things now. I'm using 10 again, so I'm gonna have to do the same math that I was doing before. So OpenEye is going up. Maths. So I'm adding 10. Oh wait, I got the... Okay, it's fine. That's... Oh, there we go. The position of this one also that add 10. Oh yeah, that's 100. And then for the other ones, I'm gonna subtract 10. I love maths. I like when programs have like text box for numbers and you can just like put an expression in here and it'll do the maths for you. I like when programs do that. Would love it if this one did that at some point. But then I'll have to code that. I don't want to. It's not like this trick will be needed in the future, so yeah. There you go. It is happening. I have to press I have to press a key for that, and it works. If I were to have a program that does macro stuff, I would set it to type this every, I don't know, 1 or 2 seconds.
Yeah, I think what I ended up doing is I made it random from like 2 seconds to 10 seconds.
Ooh.
So just do it at a random interval.
The thing with the burrows would be the same. Do you guys want me to do the burrows? I'm very lazy to do that.
I think what you should do is like add that little animation you did yesterday that made the brows go up and down.
Ah, that was cool.
yeah.
That was a cool one. I'm gonna add a position pattern. I'm gonna set it to wave. It's waving now. I'm gonna zero the scale in X. I'm gonna make it follow the rotation as well. Now it's doing a wave thing. And it looks like that. Oh yeah, this is the rigged avatar. We have a rigged avatar now.
Hi!